Sports have been around for the longest time, from soccer to football to baseball and basketball. All of the sports are very physical and involve teams to work together to achieve a common goal. For example, in football, the main goal would be to score as many touchdowns as possible. And in baseball, the main goal would be to score as many home runs as possible. Whereas in soccer, the main goal would be to score as many goals on the goalie as possible. However, with the advancement of technology, a new sport was created. This sport is called competitive gaming, which is also referred to as esports. Esports is competing through video games on a professional level. The competitors range from all sorts of different age categories. According to GamerLink, 29% of the gamers that compete are under the age of 18, 32% are ages 18 to 35, and 39% are ages 36 and above. On top of that, gamers from all around the world come to a specific cup that is sponsored by an esport organization. Some of these organizations include ESL, EVO, EGL, and many others. These are the organizations that organize the tournaments, they set the rules, and they also set the grand prize. Grand prizes would be money. Alright, so now that we got a brief background and an understanding on what esports are, it's time to talk about how they work. In other words, their key metrics. Alright, the way esports organizations make the rules is usually based around the video game that is being played. These games range from fighting games to shooter games to skill-based games and RPG games. Some of the most popular competition games out there would be Call of Duty, Black Ops 4, League of Legends, Fortnite, Apex Legends, and Mortal Kombat 11, and many more other game titles out there. Alright, so let's take Fortnite for example. For the game Fortnite, the main system used to calculate points deals with the number of opponents that are defeated. For example, if a player defeats 4 opponents, then that player has accumulated 4 points. According to ProPlayers.eu, at the end of the match, the player with the most kills continues on to the next round. This system is very fitting for a game like Fortnite. The reason for this is because Fortnite is a battle royale game. In other words, the main purpose of Fortnite is to be dropped off in a large map full of 100 people, and there can only be one people that stands at the end of the match. So in other words, there can only be one survivor at the end of the game, which is why this point system is very fitting for Fortnite. However, not every game follows the 1 point method. For example, fighting games like Mortal Kombat have a much more simpler point system. Since Mortal Kombat is a fighting game, it contains rounds per match. No, it contains 3 rounds per match. And the standard number of matches needed to win is 3. So out of the 2 players, the first one to reach 3 wins proceeds on to the next opponent. This is mostly a one-on-one type of competition. Other games that are important to note is Call of Duty, Black Ops 4, and Apex Legends. These are first-person shooter games, and these games have a similar point system like Fortnite. However, the only difference is that these games involve teams. For example, with Apex Legends, the European Gaming League, EGL, states that teams must consist of 3 players. In other words, instead of going in alone like in Mortal Kombat, teams are needed to compete in games like Apex Legends and Call of Duty. This is an idea of how esports work for each specific type of game. Alright, so now that we understand the key metrics of esports, it is important to understand how one can enter a tournament and make it to the championship. The first step would be to register online. There you can input your information like your email and also your gamer tag. A gamer tag is basically like a user ID, but only for gamers. Alright, so after one is registered, they will get a notification for when their match comes up. This may sound easy, but this is still the first step before even making it to an actual esports sponsored tournament. In order to get there, a person must accumulate as much points as they can competing in online gaming. If the points accumulated are enough, then they can win a spot in an esports tournament. However, only the best of the best make it to the top. You're looking at competing with a lot of talented players across the world. Some of the players that compete have world defending championship titles. According to esports earnings, the number 1 player in Mortal Kombat 11 is Sonic Fox, also known as Dominic McLean. The 21-year-old competitive gamer has competed in over 97 tournaments and won multiple championships in the game of Mortal Kombat. Another talented player is Call of Duty's famous Ian Porter, also known as Crimsix. According to Gen X Esports TV, the pro gamer has won 31 major championships in his whole entire Call of Duty career. Also, Fortnite does not get left behind either. It is full of pro gamers, being the most popular game out there right now. It is full of pro gamers like Ninja, Tfue, Scissors, and many, many more. The point is, making it to an esports championship will most likely not be a walk in the park. In fact, making it to an esport tournament may be even harder than competing in the World Cup. But that's still up for debate. That is why a lot of training is required and experience as well. Overall, esports continues to grow in popularity, with more players signing up to compete, thus increasing competition significantly. This has made esports one of the most competitive sports out there. It is a sport which requires a lot of training and skills. Because of this sport has pushed gamers to go beyond their limits and reach new heights. All of this is done with the mentality to become the best of the best, depending on the game that you play. Now, with this information on the background of esports, the key metrics of esports, and the road to esports, one can understand this fresh new sport a little better. Thank you very much for your time.